I don't have the map to the future. I'm sorry to report. I wish I did. I know that was the only way I got this gig, but I left the map in my other suit. I think you can say a couple things with relative certainty, not about outcomes, but about process. Number one of my rules is we're moving from an either or past to a both and future. And I genuinely believe some way or another we will have newspapers and journalism and professional journalists, people who subscribe to the rules of journalism, fact checking and balanced reporting, an attempt to get both sides of a story, an attempt to do deep digs of investigative journalism. I don't see any reason to believe that's going to disappear. It may change, it may morph, it may be under invested in, it may come from different places than it comes right now. I think that's a deep social need. Secondly, there's a deep human need. And the deep human need is for participation, engagement, checking in, connecting. That's the technological revolution. It makes it possible for all of us to talk to each other all the time. We may get overloaded, it may be too much. Ted Levitt used to say anything in excess is a poison. We may have to dial it down, but it is true that the notion that there is a private preserve for journalists and the rest of us are consumers is completely false. It goes against Megan Smith's rules and it doesn't work. So journalists have to let go of the notion that they are the high priests of reporting and truth. They're really valuable, they do what they do really well, and we need them. We also have this public dialogue, this marketplace of interaction and discourse and personal reflection or just absolute time wasting. But people want to do that. The human animal wants to get up in the morning and look around and talk about the weather, how their team did, how they feel, what they did last night that they shouldn't have done. A couple years ago, I took a trip to Tanzania, and it was a safari by day and a kind of a men's group by night, sitting around the fire. And there was a tribe we spent a lot of time with called the Hadza bee. And the Hadza bee are, for the last 70,000 years, they've been hunting and gathering in Tanzania, and they still do it. And what I observed was hilarious. The men in the tribe who were with us on this safari, this adventure, at night when we'd go into our tents and go to bed, they would get in a little pile near the fire, and they would get really close, like a puppy pile, and go to sleep. And then a couple hours later, one of them would move and wake up the whole group. And you'd hear people coughing and lighting up smokes and moving around and checking in with each other. And then the group would quiet down and they'd go back to sleep. A couple hours later, somebody would cough, somebody would roll over. All of a sudden the tribe is talking to each other. Everybody here, everybody okay? That is human behavior. That is primal. You don't think of it as journalism, but it's a form of journalism. Everybody checking in. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. Here, you want to smoke? Yeah, okay. Everybody okay? All right, go back to sleep. Get up in the morning. All right, the weather's not so good. Where are we going to hunt today? I mean, these are guys going out with poison arrows and bows to bring back food. So it's pretty elemental. But they still check in. That's what we're doing. Now, you may or may not say that's journalism. It may simply be community interaction. But we need both. We need the gossip and we need the deep digging in the news. And the technology exists to do both. The problem is that the old business model of journalism is broken. Not journalism, the business model. So we have to detach the business model from the need for that kind of reporting, analysis, really professional stuff. Reinvent a business model that gets us what we need in that zone without somehow disputing the value of all of us tribal people checking in with each other to make sure we're still okay and we're ready to go hunting for the day. It's not an either or choice. And we have to make peace so that they can live with each other. Fast Company is doing well, and my hat is off to Bob Safian, who just won the Editor of the Year award. And the magazine is, alive and well and doing good stuff. And with my hands completely off of it, so I don't have any pride in authorship there. I think it comes, it gets back again to nouns and verbs. Magazines aren't interesting to me. Magazining is interesting. And the magazines that are doing magazining are doing well, in my mind. What does that actually mean? Well, as a reader, as a consumer of information, as a curious human being, when I pick up a magazine, I'm not looking for information. Information is a commodity, just like news is a commodity. What I'm looking for is a performance. I'm looking for a take on the world. I'm looking for a point of view. One of the rules in rules of thumb is the notion that content isn't king, context is king. And the point is that content is a commodity. It's just something you push through a pipe. I might or might not buy it, but I certainly am not going to pay top dollar for it, and I'm not going to affiliate with it. I'm not going to join the content community. But if you've got a point of view, if you make sense of the world in a distinctive way, if you've got an argument you want to advance and engage me in, I'm interested in that. I may or may not agree with you, but boy, your mind is active and alert and alive on the page. And that's something that's worth money. So magazining, to me, is the art of taking a position, staking out a territory, defining a take on the world, bringing your skills of storytelling and performance to an audience or a participating audience that wants to engage actively in a dialogue. That's alive and well. And the publications that do that are the ones that are flourishing. And the ones that are dwindling really bought into, I think, a kind of a Darwinian dead end, and that is it's enough to collect information and slam it between covers. And now we're authoritative, or we're the news of the week. The news of the week is very weak, and it isn't going to survive.